Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Cutter One. I am your host, J, your resident troublemaker and your resident culture warrior. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're having a beautiful day. All right, so let's get into it. So rather than just be one of these channels that sort of just complains, right? Just make a video when there's something to complain about. Decided that where I'm going to sort of morph things into as the channel goes along is I, in addition to pointing out when people are just totally talking out of their ass when it comes to Tolkien, like I've done with some articles that we've talked about here on the channel and criticized, as well as some authors of said articles who don't seem to really have a clue or an understanding about the subject of Tolkien and his works as much as they like try to portray themselves as having, right? Because a lot of them will have in their bios that like, oh, I'm like a diehard Tolkien fan and stuff like that. Well, then how could you not understand this most basic concept? But anyway, so we've talked about our fair share about that, but I don't want that to be the only thing that prompts a video on this channel is like just complaining about stuff. I also wanted to use what platform I have, and I know it's limited. Like I said, the subscriptions are going up, and that's great, and I appreciate each and every one of you, and I thank you for coming on this journey with me. But I don't want it to just be like a bitch and moan fest, right? I want there to be like positive things too. So, like in the video previous to this one, we talked about the upcoming War of the Rohirrim animated film that's coming out, and how they just secured Miranda Otto to do the voice of Eowyn, who will be the narrator of that film. And that's a positive, and that's something that, as Tolkien fans, I'm sure I'm not the only one who is kind of like, I don't want to say giddy with anticipation, but really, really like, as it gets closer, I think my hype for it will build, right? So I'm looking forward to that one. But I also wanted to highlight, it doesn't have to be some big, production company that's doing stuff. There are individuals out there that are doing stuff in honor of Tolkien, in honor of his works, or inspired by, right? And that's what brings me to this video, because I came across something somebody did on YouTube, and I like, it was one of those things that it had my jaw drop open, that I was just like completely and utterly amazed, like, because having a media and audio visual background, for those of you who don't know, I've done independent film work and visual effects work, right? So I know what's involved in a lot of this stuff. A lot of times you see the scene play out on the screen in front of you, but you don't realize it may have taken 3 weeks between filming the live action plates and then the computer generated stuff and the motion graphic stuff and the color correction and the editing and stuff. It's weeks and weeks and weeks to just get like 60 seconds of something on film. And the same thing when it comes to music and audio production and stuff like that. We as the audience, we get the finished product, but we don't see the weeks or months or longer sometimes of writing compositions and adjusting parts and the whole orchestration and composition aspect of it, and what's involved in that, and how it either takes a room full of people, or, excuse me, or even if it's one individual, it's still a lot, right? So we don't often see that. So, but there are people that are fans of what Tolkien did, fans of what Peter Jackson did, in terms of what they gave us in terms of their art and their story, and it's inspired some really cool stuff. And I wanted to use my platform to highlight some of this whenever possible, right? So we spoke about the War of the Rohirrim, which is an animated series coming out next year. But I came across this on YouTube, and I I had asked the individual. I reached out to the individual, and asked them if I could plug this on the channel here. But I think it's so good that I just have to, right? I just, again, I'm not going to try to take anything away. I want you to go to their channel. Okay. As you can see, it is Imagine Studio. You could punch it in on YouTube or just look for the Silmarillion soundtrack on YouTube by Stan Lockfield. And you can just tell by that artwork, which is up on the screen, that the people who were involved in this, like, they care. Like, they took the time to care. I mean, if you look at that track listing and stuff like that, it's not just like, hey, Sauron this and Sauron that. It's like literally in line with the Silmarillion, right? It's like a legit soundtrack. Um, and I'm just gonna play a little snippet. I don't want to take anything away from them, but I just want you guys to hear as to like when I first heard this, I was just like blown away. Like this is freaking awesome. So let's just check this out. I'm just gonna play a little bit of the first track, and I may just jump across a couple of things just to give you an idea. So let's check it out. Like that is like freaking awesome. It's got that vibe. It's just got that vibe that Howard Shore soundtrack does from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. All right, so let me just jump around to this is the birth of the elves. Baron and Luthien. Anyway, I don't want to go through the whole thing. I would recommend for those of you who may be interested, I would recommend going and checking out this channel. It's Imagine Studio. It is the Silmarillion original soundtrack, part one by Stan Lockfield. Go check it out. I think you'll be impressed like I was. It's got that same Howard Shore vibe that the soundtrack from the Lord of the Rings trilogy had. They even interweave some themes, some of the recurring themes might sound familiar because they work those in there as well. There is a part two to this, as you might have seen when I sort of clicked. It's the Silmarillion. Part two is the Legends of Numenor. Is the part two to this. I haven't fully listened to the whole thing yet, but obviously, the quality of what Imagine Studio and Stan Lockfield are putting out is right up there with the stuff we'd see in the movies. And anyway, I just wanted to take a moment and use my platform to highlight something that another Tolkien fan or fans are doing, and sort of like do something that was like community oriented for the community of Tolkien fans. I think it's really good stuff. I think definitely it deserves your subscription if you're so inclined. I highly recommend it. I think they mentioned that you can get it on iTunes if you were like so inclined to want to purchase it. I think you can purchase it on iTunes, but you'd have to go check it out. Let's see. Oh, it's available on Bandcamp, not iTunes. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, they have the whole track listing. They let you know what's going on. It's just it's excellent work, and it's excellent work that really does honor Tolkien, and obviously it's inspired by Tolkien, it's inspired by his work, and it doesn't seek to change it or modernize it or tear it down in any way. It's just somebody who was inspired to do something really, really impressive and really, really creative. And I just think it's awesome. And I just wanted to share it with you guys because, oftentimes there's too much, we get too much ROP stuff, or we get too much complaining about how Hollywood is jerking us around. And I just thought, why not just share some of the good stuff that's out there, especially by the independent folks who maybe stuck being under the radar because the algorithms don't get them out enough or whatever and stuff like that. And I wanted to highlight somebody else, amplify somebody else. So go check that out. Give them a subscription. And it's really good music. I was impressed by it. I thought it was great. And I'm sure you guys will think too. Again, it's Silmarillion Original Soundtrack Part 1. You can look it up in YouTube search engine by Stan Lockfield and Imagine Studio. So check it out, and give them a like. Let them know that Cutter One sent you, or J Just J sent you. The guy who's a troublemaker, the guy who likes to curse on video. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. If you go check it out, let me know what you think. Let me know. Do you get that same sort of Lord of the Rings vibe from the music that I did? Let me know down in the comment section below. All right, remember, if you like the video. If you feel like sharing the video, by all means do so. It helps it get it out there, helps it get it seen. If you have not subscribed, I would hope you would consider subscribing at this time. It would really help the channel. I'm shooting for 1,000, and I know people think, oh, you just want 1,000 to get monetized. No, not really. I want 1,000 because it's 1,000. I think once you hit that 1,000, things sort of start to snowball to a certain degree. It boosts the algorithm, which gets you seen more, which I think then sort of starts to work on its own. Anyway, that's my goal. As far as the monetization goes, yeah, that would be nice, but it's not like a big thing. Actually, I have a certain level of freedom not being monetized right now, because there's certain threats, that I don't have to worry about at the moment, because you can't demonetize me if I'm not monetized, right? But anyway, so yeah, I am aiming for 1,000. So if you would consider subscribing, that would be great. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. And yeah, let's just we can put out some positive Tolkien vibes too. It's not just about the complaining about what the mainstream is doing wrong. Sometimes there are independent souls out there that are inspired, and they are creating some awesome stuff. And I just wanted to use my platform to highlight somebody else. So there you go. Remember, be good, be awesome, be safe. I will see you guys on the next one. Until then, peace.